Hey everybody, this is Cosmic Kyle, your Colorado sky guy. I'm going to do a live program here about the upcoming total lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is when our moon, orbiting around the Earth, moves into the shadow that our Earth is casting out into space. It's an amazing phenomenon. The moon will move into the shadow. And what that really means is the Earth itself, our planet, is blocking light from our sun from reaching the surface of the moon and reflecting back to us. Now, there will be some light that hits the Earth's atmosphere and is bent around the Earth, and that light will be cast onto the moon, sometimes changing the color of the moon. You may have heard blood moons because sometimes there's a reddish cast. It literally is the same phenomenon that we see at sunset when our atmosphere bends the light of the sun and we see different colors than we're used to in the normal day. Speaking of daytime, a lot of us who have been expecting this lunar eclipse have been watching the moon during the day. You don't really think about seeing the moon during the day because it is sometimes hard to see, but it is possible if you know where to look. So I have our space-time machine set up currently for March the 1st when the moon has just come from being between us and the sun. Actually, let me go back to one day. Kind of see where the moon was the day before. It's very subtle. That's called a new moon. That's when the moon is between us and the sun. We don't see any part of the moon that's reflecting light back at the sun. We only see the shadow side of the moon. That is when you could have a solar eclipse, when the moon lines up exactly with the sun and blocks out the light of the sun. Lunar eclipses happen when the Earth's shadow blocks light from the sun from reaching the moon. All right, so every day the moon is going along its orbital path. I'll put its orbit line up here. And so it's changing the angle that it is between us and the sun. And another phenomenon that's happening at this exact same time is the Earth and moon are also orbiting around the sun. So I'm going to put the Earth's orbit projected out into space. We call this line the ecliptic line. You might notice that there are months listed along this line. That's to show where the sun would seem to appear from our perspective along this line. The thing I want you to notice, though, is the moon's orbit and the ecliptic line cross. There's going to be 2 points at which they cross. These two planes are not exactly parallel to each other. The moon's orbit is inclined around 5 degrees or so. So that means there are only 2 times during the Earth's year where an eclipse could happen. And we're coming up on one of them here. I'm going to change our view so you can see the whole sky at once and kind of track what's happening. Now, what we're used to seeing is the Earth is rotating. The Earth actually rotates from the west towards the east, but because we're on the Earth, we get the illusion that things are rising in the east and setting in the west. So I'm going to do this. We're going to speed up time and watch the Earth rotate. I'm going to take us down here to about sunset. Okay. So most people think that the moon is heading that direction. The moon actually, its orbit is going from the west towards the east. And we notice that night after night because the moon, I'm skipping ahead a day at a time now, will be in a different position every single day or night. You'll also notice that we see more and more of the moon's reflected surface. And when it's a full moon is when the moon is opposite the side of the sun in the sky. And we'll notice that that's the one time where when the sun sets, the moon is going to be rising almost at the exact same time. So this month that is going to happen on March the 13th. But you notice where the moon is right here. It's at that point where the ecliptic and the moon's orbit cross. The moon is moving very subtly more toward the east. And we're going to see what happens when the moon starts to move into There it is, the shadow of the Earth. Let's use my telescope here. We'll get a little closer view of this happening. You're always going to see the shadow starting on the east and seems like it's moving across this the moon. It's really the moon moving into the shadow. And here we can see light from the Earth, light bending around the Earth, casting colors, sometimes red, onto the moon. Absolutely phenomenal. I hope you have a chance to see this. It's again going to be the night of March 13th, 2025, or here in Colorado, it's going to start a little bit after midnight. It's going to be totality after midnight, so early in the morning on the 14th. Now, let's do something a little different here. I hope you're able to see this on the Earth. I've just found out that here in Colorado, it's probably going to be clouded out. But you know what we can do here? We're not bound to having to stay here on the Earth. In our simulation, we can leave the Earth and see this from space. So let's blast off away from our planet Earth and watch what happens, kind of explore it a little deeper from the perspective of space. So that bright thing that you see over there, that is our sun. Our sun is full of light and energy. It's casting light on the Earth, and we can see the daytime side of the Earth. Everything that has light shining on it, though, is going to have a dark side, a shadow side. So we have daytime side and nighttime side on our planet. So the Earth is casting a shadow out into space. And I actually have a way that I can simulate that. We're going to make this kind of green cone represent the shadow of the Earth cast out into space. And you can see that on this particular month, this particular full moon, the moon is going to line up exactly so it goes through the shadow of the Earth. Now, this doesn't happen every single month. The reason, again, is that the moon's orbit around the Earth is not on the exact same plane as the Earth's orbit around the sun. So let's explore that. I'm going to skip ahead a day at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 29 and a half. You might notice it takes 29 and a half days for the moon to go through all of its phases, and that's about a month of time. Yeah. I'm going to make the moon the size it should be instead of 15 times larger. We're going to speed up time a little bit now to see the moon line up with the shadow of the Earth. Okay, pause it here. Sure looks like it's going to be another lunar eclipse next month, except if we change our perspective a bit. Let me zoom in with our telescope to the moon. You can see that the moon next month will actually just be orbiting a little bit below the shadow of the Earth. So you're only going to have 2 times a year where we have eclipse seasons that you might have an eclipse of some kind, a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse when everything lines up. I love eclipses. I hope you have an opportunity to go outside and see this particular lunar eclipse. It's another way of just reminding us how special our little blue planet is, that really, when you think about it, we're living on a little spacecraft, our Earth, orbiting around in space, and it's absolutely a beautiful thing to experience. So thanks very much. Signing off, this is Cosmic Kyle, and I hope you keep looking up.